Susan, I thank you very much for being here because you are sharing all the experience you have had, not only in UK but overseas. The first comment I'd like to do is that we need to think of social linguistics. This is the perspective she mentioned, even though she did it in a friendly way. She's talking about social linguistics. That means we need to bear in mind the language we are teaching according to the context. Remember, this is simple, but sometimes we don't put it into practice, right? The other thing is the way we treat our students. Sometimes we are far away from them, and we fail them easily, and that is not fair. Being a teacher implies getting closer and ask them why they are not doing our course. And if they get 20s, you can ask them to share the different strategies he uses in order to be learned by the others, right? So these two aspects are very, very important. Think of your students. Have positive attitudes towards them. Secondly, learning is not an easy thing. Learning is difficult, troublesome. And on top of that, if we threaten the students, we'll be discouraging for them. You see? So, Susan, really, I learned a lot from you and from the way you said. I remember the first time I read your book. I used to read many other books. They were very difficult to me. But with your books, some of my sessions is based on your books you had earlier designed. It's super easy. The language is easy. It's for us. You don't need any dictionary if you want to go over the book she designed. And remember, she's putting into practice things that we should put into practice in the language center also. We don't want complaints from the students. Things simple like that, if you are giving a context, if you are giving a topic, maybe 2 things to cover in a course, do it. Don't expect that the students can do it on their own way. You have to teach them. And if it is something that is not realistic, also change it. Bring another material. Prepare the kids for the outside world. This is what Susan said. Remember, I'm just repeating what she has said because everything she mentioned is very important in teacher training courses. Thank you very much for letting me give you some opinions about your session.
Thank you very, very much.
Is there another person who would like to say something?
If there isn't, I will talk for maximum 10 minutes just to finish it off. And then you can come and ask questions.
Yeah.
If anything else is done. Is that okay?
Okay, yes.
Maximum 10 minutes.
Oh,
Okay.
way back. We are okay with that.
Right. Okay. Back to the trees. You need to ask yourself what is relevant for your context, your objectives, your teacher's objectives. So a lovely palm tree, but Scotland, forget it. Okay, just to sum up, the main issues that I think people are talking about globally now in terms of teaching English, and some of these will be true about Peru and some of them won't be. You're the experts, I'm not. In a lot of countries, the age at which kids are learning English is getting lower and lower and lower. When I started teaching English in Italy, 7, 8 in a private language institute. Now, in a lot of countries, 5, 4, 3, 2, it'll be 1 pretty soon. The implications for teacher training, I think, are huge, and this is a whole other session, because I don't think you can I don't think you should be teaching children at that age unless you have been trained to teach children at that age. And it seems to me really, really important with 3, 4, 5-year-olds that the materials and the training of the teacher and the ability of the teacher to communicate with the children are actually thought about. Because a 4-year-old might be interested in singing a song in English, but actually he or she probably wants to come and tell you what their granny said at the weekend, and the fact that the dog is not well, it's not eating its food properly, and all that won't be done in English. That's about empathy. I've talked about global language, English is a lingua franca. Exams and reality, I've hinted at the fact that I think there's a danger in a lot of countries, and certainly internationally, that exams are being imposed on learning systems, whereas for me it should be the other way up, other way around, that the learning systems should impose themselves on the exams. Because there's no point in having exams for things that people haven't learned. But if they're learning things only for the exam, it becomes a kind of vicious circle. So I think all of us, and anybody in touch with ministries of education or exam boards, need to think about this. Materials, very important that they are appropriate for your learners and that you know how to evaluate them. And something I was mentioning that a lot of people don't realise is the huge amount of time it takes a publisher to develop a course. Think of the major courses that you use from Oxford, from Cambridge, from Pearson, Macmillan, St Gage, whoever it might be. I probably left somebody out, apologies. But I was talking to a colleague who works in publishing last week, and we agreed that the time from when somebody says, let's do a course for upper secondary students in these countries, to when it comes out is about 5 years of preparation time. Analysing the market, talking to teachers, doing the costs, getting somebody to write it, deciding that's not quite right, we begin again, finding the photograph. You know, if you think of a course, it's very complicated. And the problem is it's 5 years of preparation time, then it comes out, and the world has changed. So publishers do have a problem. 3 more things that I would concentrate on. CPD, Continuous Professional Development. It's a much used acronym. I'm afraid I'm old-fashioned enough to talk about teacher training. Pre-service and in-service training. CPD is being imposed on the world that we all need CPD. Okay, we need to think about our teaching, but use of that acronym for some reason to me sounds disembodied. Webinars. Do you attend? I don't know what the verb is for webinars. Do you go to? Do you watch the webinars?
Yeah.
I think, like most things, like most trees, they've got pluses and minuses. They can be a wonderful opportunity to meet people online who you wouldn't normally meet, hear ideas you wouldn't normally meet, interact to a certain extent, but there is a danger that they become a kind of fashion. You know, the first Thursday of every month there's a new webinar, and it may be relevant, it may not be, but don't forget your critical skills. Don't feel afraid or nervous of saying, well, that person may be very famous, but actually it's not relevant to me, or it's not even very good. So, you know, develop your critical skills. And again, in teacher training, I would get trainee teachers to watch a webinar and then discuss, you know, what worked, what didn't work, how would you do it. Has anybody here ever done a webinar? I hate doing them. I do them from time to time. I love talking to people, but I hate talking to a computer screen. And what is even worse is the fact that people put notes at the side. And if you're doing the webinar, it's incredibly distracting, especially if you do an international one and somebody in, I know, St. Petersburg says, hi, you know, what's the weather like in Madrid or wherever it may be. Awful, but they are useful. Qualifications, as I've said, qualifications I feel should be bottom up, not top down. And I'm sure there are lots of other things. So if I were working on a training program with you, I would get you to identify your own trees, your own problems. Okay, that's just a reminder that English out there in the outside world. And just to finish, I think more and more, over to you, people making up their own minds for what is important. And I'll leave you with a final photograph. That's also my garden. There's a river that goes down on a good day. There's a river that goes down the side of it. And I took the photo. I just happened to be in the garden. I had my phone with me and I took the photo. And I thought it's a very good analogy for me for good teaching, good teacher training. Because we've got the little swans, the cygnets here, who are like students. And they're trying to find something to eat in the river, looking for something. And the two parents are standing back. They're looking at the little ones, but they're not interfering. But they're observing. And I think that's a very good analogy for what teachers and teacher trainers should be. We should let our students get on with it, but we should keep an eye on them. And for me, that's a good teacher trainer. I'm sorry if it's been a little bit of a rush, and I wish I could spend more time with you. If anybody wants to keep in touch, has any questions, I've got my card here, and if you want to email me, do. I'm pretty good at answering emails. I mean, you will get a response, but because I travel a lot, it might not be immediately. But please don't hesitate to get in touch. And thank you very much for having me here. Thank you very much. Okay. Yes. There we are. Help yourself. Yes.